Good morning. It's time for Morning Oasis. I'm going to give it a minute and let you guys come in, turn things off. So it has been quite the day, quite the evening. How many of you guys got good sleep last night? Yeah, you're in here first, Jessie. Good job. Let's see. So did anybody else find themselves waking up a lot last night? I know I did. I've heard from about 3 of you that you also did as well. The bunny, by the way, Jessie, I took the bells off the bunny for today's show, so you don't have to have her pulling you out of meditation. That's quite the morning. Quite the morning. All right, turning everything off. Morning, Andrea. Okay. I actually had only 2 requests for card pulls today, so if there's a third one, since you guys are first in, Molly's crashed up here on the bed already. She knows it's time. It's time. Good morning, Shauna. Good morning, Andrea. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and pull. I had a request from my dear friend Mariah. Her and I are going to be going to a sweat this weekend. Oh, you know what's so funny, Jessie? Actually, I wrote Clary down as a pull for this morning. There she is. Good morning, Clary. So I wrote Clary down for a pull because she actually requested the topic of today. So though she didn't ask me for a card pull, I was going to pull one for her anyway. We're right again on the same page. Yes, Shauna, perfect. You're our third. And like always, if anybody else wants to request, go ahead and do so, and I'll write you down for Thursday's show. Also remember that Friday is Q&A Friday, so that's the day where you guys really get to shape the show. So whatever it is that you want to know about on Friday, you let me know, and we will work through it. Hey, Melissa, welcome. I don't know if you've been to one of our live broadcasts yet, but that's awesome to see you here. Okay, I'll put you down for tomorrow. All right, let's see. So first of all, I'm going to pull for Mariah. Let's see. Yeah, the Messenger Oracle deck wants to talk to Mariah. Now, Mariah is another one of those women who's very guided, very gifted. She has her own practice that she does. She creates magical art. She works with animal parts like skins and claws and just the most amazing things that she creates. Total gift. I feel like I'm just blessed right now with the people that are around me. Hey, Stormy. Okay, so for Mariah, the card that I pulled is Nourish the Soul. This is from, by the way, the Messenger Oracle deck by Raven Felon. Whoops, this is the deck box itself, if you guys are interested in it. So, Nourish the Soul. It's time to take that space away from the life that you're leading right now, because I know Mariah very well. She's a single mother with 2 kids, one under the age of 6, I believe. I think she's 6 or 7. The other is a teenager. So she is pulled in a lot of directions. She's going to graduate school right now, and she has her own practice and art business. She's a powerful woman, and she gets a lot accomplished. But sometimes what she forgets is to nourish herself. So we were talking about that just the other day, and it looks like, Mariah, you're just getting another confirmation of that, which is perfect because we're going this weekend to nourish our souls and to sweat out what we have to get rid of and release. So that's perfect alignment. And for all of us, that's something I'm just going to throw out there. My personal lessons have been all around releasing the idea that I have to go it alone, that I'm on my own, that I'm doing this by myself. Last night, I did some powerful work with my partner, Shauna, who's here. Thank you, Shauna. I can't speak to enough how important it is to have people that you trust, people that you can connect with, people that resonate with you, and that you can go to when you need that support and that help. I'm going to just tell you guys just a brief little story. In San Diego, I mentioned that I had a lot of things going wrong during our trip to San Diego. The wrong flight day booked, forcing us to stay in a hostel that was right in the heart of Old Town San Diego in the Gas Lamp District. Right across the way from us was a haunted hotel, and it was the pickup point for the ghost tours. And so there was all these things about that place to stay. Our room was constantly leaking. My husband and I had a huge fight at the first night of our trip. Good morning, Ignacio. So all of these things were going wrong, and at the same time, I also was having powerful meditations, powerful understandings and revelations for myself, and also for the nature of our relationship with my husband. So I had this experience where I was up all night the night that we were there. I could not sleep the whole night. And normally when that happens for me, it's usually because I'm being visited or I'm being upgraded and being worked on. But this did not feel good, and I felt sapped into my own misery. And I actually woke up the next morning, or came to the next morning, and my husband and I view success very differently. You know, he's, Andrea, I would love to pull a card for you tomorrow. I have room tomorrow in the slots. So, you know, for me, success is how authentically am I able to show up and be transparent with those who seek my support, my guidance, and the light that I try to hold as a beacon to help others connect back into that infinite consciousness, to remember that they're the divine. So to me, that's how I measure my success. How able am I to do that, while still holding the roles and the space for my family as a mother and as a wife. And for him, success is measured in money. Money measured in documentation. So we have this big argument and disagreement about it, and he doesn't understand why I devote my life and so much of my energy and time in doing this work. And I can't make him see that for me there's absolutely no other way. There's no other choice. My path is clear. And I kind of view our relationship as a platform from which, his lesson is to be forced to support one who's devoted to service work in order to learn to be of service to others. And through the course of our relationship, he has made huge strides in that endeavor. And he's a commissioner for the Commission for the Blind and supports blind individuals. He's been recognized nationally for his advocacy work and credits me greatly for that course of himself. However, that night in the hotel room, after having this huge conflict with him about this, my full victimhood filter came forward. Good morning, Siska, or good evening. And I just laid there thinking about the whole night what a failure I was in his eyes, and how no matter what I did, I would still be that failure. And I woke up and I was like, okay, I'll quit. I'll quit doing everything that I've been doing. I'll quit my business. I'll quit my practice. I'll just go back and I'll just be your wife, and maybe you'll respect me then. And I just couldn't get that out of my head. And I was really, really feeling very broken. I'm probably going to cry, you guys, but that's part of showing up transparently, right? Because I think that there's an illusion that we hold about people that once they get into doing this work and doing this kind of stuff, that somehow life gets easier for them, or that somehow their devotion or their commitment becomes simple. And the truth is, it is anything but easy and anything but simple. And even when you're in that grounded and connected space, good morning, Mariah. I just read your card, by the way. I'll pull it back out in a minute. When you're in that space, it does not make life easier. You are actually inviting the challenges in and bringing them to you to create that breaking, that hard break that shatters these beliefs that you hold about yourself. And it's not easy. So anyway, the whole rest of that week, I kind of was in this contemplative state, like, is what I'm doing even worth it? Is it real? Is it even in my head? My husband hates social media. He actually calls people just like me social media whores. And so I'm like, is it just in my imagination? Do I make myself seem more important than I am? Is this part of my delusion? All of these questions I was really grappling with over this week-long trip, and trying to decide how I wanted to show up when I came back, and what I wanted to do, and what it was that I was here for. So, anyway, during that time of the trip, some other things that also happened were I think I mentioned this, my knee, I hurt it on almost the first day. And though we were walking like miles each day, I was in agonizing pain. By the end of the day, I would be shaking and like just crying, and my knee would just be in so much pain. And I didn't feel like I could set down hard lines and say, I'm not walking. And when I would say, okay, I can't walk any further, I'm sorry, I'm in so much pain, he would be like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll call Uber. And the Uber driver wouldn't show up. And we'd stand there for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then get a new Uber driver assigned to us. This happened 3 different times. I love you too, Mariah. And thank you, Kyle. I'm super grateful for you guys, because you guys make this make sense and work for me. So anyway, all of these things going wrong. My suitcase broke. I lost one of my favorite earrings that I consider my support earring. I wear these when I need them. Just everything was kind of like going wrong. I lost my phone, so I wasn't able to connect with my main support, which is, Shauna's. I'd be lost without her. So all this stuff was going wrong. And yesterday, when I did the show yesterday, it was super clear what I had to talk about. There was absolutely no doubt that was what had to be discussed, that information had to be shared, that it was critical for all of us to understand that we are wanderers here in the creation to bring our light in. And right before the show, just the whole house filled with this intense energy and pressure. My ears, I couldn't hear anything. It was like, when you're coming down in a plane and it all just popped out. Thank you, Shauna. And it was like that was what was coming through, and that's what you guys heard yesterday. That was who was talking. That was the voice that was coming through. And so the rest of the day I kind of had to sleep. It was like I was really exhausted, and I slept most of the day. I also had to go do errands, right? So I had to go grocery shopping. I had to clean up the house. Like, I had to sweep up the floor. And my knee was just killing me. And so by the end of the day, I just couldn't, like, I had a huge another fight with my son. I was yelling at him, behaving in a way that is completely inauthentic to myself and the way I want to show up as a mother. And my cat went crazy, like meowing everywhere, running up the stairs, meowing, 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 meowing. And I know that is when he does that, there is something here, and it's usually not something I want to be here. So I contacted my friend Shauna and I'm like, I need your help. I can't see through this. I'm not seeing it clearly, and I'm pretty sure I picked up something in San Diego. So I don't talk a lot about protection, and if you follow my work, you know that I encourage people to not focus on protection, that I believe that protection is protecting you from your lessons. But the truth is that there is a place for protection. There is a place for clearing energy. There is a place for making sure that you come back into alignment with yourself. And yeah, I did pick up something in San Diego. And it spread through the broadcast. So Shauna and I worked on finding all of that energy, cleansing it out, shining that light, bringing in the angelics to support us. And for the first time in over a week, I felt clear. And through the work, Shauna had something she needed work on. Oh, I love my cat. He is my guardian. But Shauna and I worked on each other, and we're both like, at the end of it, we're like, God, why did it take us so long to do this? And the truth is that it's about alignment, and it's about making sure that the lesson path is created and set up for you. So, long story short, this morning has been an overwhelming morning of confirmations. I had about 10 of you guys contacting me this morning to tell me in various ways how grateful you were, how much you loved me, how much you needed this communication, how much you needed this space with me, with each other, with our connections. And even one of you contacted me, Jesse, I'm going to out you again, and had direct messages for me about my alignment and my purpose and why that was allowed to happen. And it was exactly what I needed. So I'm just going to thank you guys, because this is why I'm here. If you guys weren't needing this space and needing this support, I wouldn't be here. And I need you as much as you need me. Okay, so I'm just going to close. Sorry, I'm sorry I cried, but no, I'm not sorry. I take it back. I'm not sorry. I'm grateful for all of you guys. Okay, so Mariah, your card pull was Nourish the Soul, which is what we're going to go do this weekend, is nourishing our souls, right? So, thank you, Jessie. So, nourishing the soul, Mariah, and we'll talk more about that later. And the next card pull is Clary. Let's see. Ganesh wants to talk to you, Clary. I know, right, Mariah? I pulled that out, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. And I did talk about it first. I pulled that card first before going into my story. Yes, definitely oneness, Stormy. We're all so connected. We all are also, by the way, going through major upgrades, especially the wanderers in us. And make sure that when you're going through the upgrades and not getting that sleep at night, that you're taking some time to nap in the day, because yeah, it's intense. It's intense energy. Chris, I'll put you down for tomorrow. Okay, so this one is for Clary, and this is Splendor. Ganesh wants to remind you of your own splendor, your own light. I know you're going through some challenges and facing that right now, and feeling like a being of light with the challenges of the person who is reflecting to you the dark, right, with the polarity. Time to bring in that light. And remember that you are a divine being, okay? Ignacio, I see myself in the same way. I'm an energy, and I felt the same reaction for people around me, like money and banks are more important. Yeah, exactly. It's so critical for us to support each other in whatever ways that we can, you know, because we're being told all the time that that's not the way. Okay, the third card pull was for Shauna. And Shauna, seriously, thank you. And if any of you guys are needing somebody to just bring some light through, man, Shauna is perfect for that. Sorry about that, Chris. Well, you'll have to watch it in the replay. Let's see. Shauna, the energy cards are talking to you. I know you've got these. The energy oracle cards, Sandra Ann Taylor. These came up yesterday as well. Let's see. Let me take a sip of coffee. Ooh. So yesterday we talked a lot about the nature of our souls and of creation. And today what we're going to be talking about is kind of similar, but on a little different vein. Perfect. So Shauna, you got the angel of balance. Need I say more? The angel of balance, bringing balance in, bringing in alignment, recognizing that all things are of purpose, right? So we have these challenges, these conflicts, these darknesses that we have to face, and that's so that we will bring in that light and bring in more of that light. Perfect card for you right now. For all of us, this balance is critical. I was talking also with another person this morning about balance. So what we're going to talk about today, we're moving into it, and what I wanted to talk about is, you know, somebody asked me about the violet flame. Thank you, Mariah. Somebody asked me about the violet flame, and I told them that I would discuss it in today's show. Now, first of all, I'm going to just teach you guys the way I was taught how to access the violet flame. I'm looking for some blank paper, which sometimes is really challenging. Yeah. So, what is the violet flame? So, what is colored energy, right? You've probably heard people talk about things like calling in, you know, the strands of attunement that are different colors. Well, basically, what we have to think about is the wholeness of light, the absence of light, and then the spectrum of light, right? We've all seen a rainbow. We all know that light breaks up into a spectrum of colors. But let's think about those in terms of frequencies. So the frequencies are different. The wavelength is different, right? So a red wavelength is very long. And because it's a long wavelength, it actually travels the furthest. That's why the last color you see at sunset is that red color. It's the last bit of the full spectrum of light that is still reaching a lot beyond the horizon. And the shortest wavelengths is the ultraviolets up into that violet wavelength. So they're more like, you know, really close together. And what happens is that's a photon actually traveling. A photon is like the most minute particle, right? So it's traveling and it changes things. That's why we use the violet flame as a transmutation flame, or as a energy frequency of change. In the Raw Consciousness book, they say that the violet flame is the transition. They talk about, it's actually interesting, they talk about the primary rays, and they say the primary rays are the red, the yellow, and the blue. And these are the only real ray colors to bring in with intention or focus. And the red ray is, we wouldn't be here without it. It's the grounding. It's that vibration of physicality, of physical expression. And of course, it's the longest. So it's the first that gets developed. It's the first chakra center that gets developed. The orange color between the red and the yellow. Yes, Andrea, you've been with us all along, and trust me, you support us as well. So the orange ray is actually the transition between the red and the yellow. And then from the yellow into the blue ray, which is our throat chakra, right? Between there is the green ray, and that is love. Another transitory ray. What we're all working on collectively for humanity is to open up that green vibrational frequency, because humanity is transitioning from a yellow ray, which is egocentric based, self-based, the separation, the individuation between self and the collective, and into the blue ray, which is acceptance, allowance, flow, right? Water is blue and it flows. So the green is that transition. Now, what we use the violet flame for, or that violet energy frequency, is a transmutation, because it's got the most activity, the most energy, and it transitions between the blue ray and the white, which is infinite consciousness, the all, the collection. So we are constantly shifting, just like if you look at a rainbow, if you really look at it, you can actually see the violet next to the purple of the next rainbow down, right? Because it's a constant journey. It's a constant spectrum. It just repeats over and over and over. So the same is true. Okay, so the violet ray. The violet flame is an attuning or a transmutation, like, frequency. I'm trying to think of the best way to put that. The way I was taught, which I'll show you first, is to, with your mind, it's funny, look at how that shifted all the light. Okay, so with your mind, you are going to visualize, let's say, oh gosh, I'll use my husband and I as an example. I just did this last night after clearing all that energy out of the house and out of myself and out of him and out of Svas. We're laying there in bed, facing away from each other, absolutely no contact, no connection. Every bit of that connection has been shattered over the week. And I'm like, okay, we need to shift the energy between us. And the violet flame came into mind, and also, preparing for the show. So I visualize him and me and our bed, right? And so let's say this is our bed. And I'm just going to stick figure it, okay? And there's us on the bed, okay? So I visualize around it a teardrop shape. Oh, I'm drawing backwards. And you draw it 3 times. Once you've drawn that teardrop, you're creating the chamber within which you want to create and affect change. Okay? Then you draw, let's see if we can make it still, light is going crazy, an infinity symbol. And you draw it 3 times. 3 is a very powerful number. And when you come into the third, you draw an eternity symbol. 3 times. And as you come into that third point, I visualize it like a punctuation point. And when you come in, oh, that's hilarious. I didn't even realize I'm using purple and violet paper. Thanks, Jessie. So as you punctuate that, that's where you create, that's where you say what you want done, right? So the teacher who taught me, she uses commandments, and the way she does it is she's like, I command that all of blank energy be transmuted into blank energy, right? Personally, I have a more allowance path, so it's just a difference in style and approach, and you're going to, as you use it, come up with your own ways that this is it works for you best. So what I do is, as I punctuate it, I ask that all energy frequencies within this chamber that are ready to transmutate into another frequency be given the support to do so and to vibrate at the optimum frequency for what we are ready to learn and ready to receive. So that's what I do. And that's the basics of the violet flame, using this as a transmutation chamber. You can also use it by simply, and I think the reason that the light went so dark there is because using symbology, using these kinds of sigils or runes or physical tools, we're passing out of that space, and really it's about the consciousness. So another way you can do that, and this is actually what I did last night with my husband and I, was not drawing that symbol in my mind, but I just imagined this violet ray of light shining on us both and bringing in this almost like a breaking up frequency to just break the hard wall we built between us, and to allow that frequency to come through and flow through us. So that was how I used it last night. You guys can find your own path and way to use that. Let's see, today I asked Spirit Alive Simulate. Yeah. That's awesome. So I see a lot of you guys have been commenting throughout. I'll go back and read those later and kind of pick them up. When I asked, and I really felt like I needed to ask today what the meditation needed to be about, all I could see was this prism of the Merkaba. And we have talked about Merkabas before. I think we've even done a building of a Merkaba, but it was quite a while back. I think it was all the way back in December. And I'm just going to really briefly draw a Merkaba, because I don't know that all of you guys are aware of what it looks like. Oh God, that's a butchery. I'm going to try one more time. So the Merkaba essentially is a pyramid structure, basically, where there's a pyramid above and there's a pyramid below. And they blend together. And when you see a Merkaba, it kind of looks a little bit like this, right? There's the pyramid above and the pyramid below. And within here is where you are. Now, there's a lot of disciplines that we'll talk about. And again, we're using symbolism. But there are a lot of disciplines that will say that the Merkaba, we all have one, and you can find, if you search for it, it's, I'm dyslexic, so I have to write it down. It's Merkaba. You will see imagery where it shows, like a little angel inside of this image, and I can even post one later. So this is actually the symbolism around it is a way of us understanding what it is. And it's this double prism that takes that whole light of the creative consciousness and breaks it up into all the spectrums of light frequency. So that's what's happening in our vessel already. Each of our chakras is attuned to a frequency of color, of energy. We see it as color because our eyes, that's how we mostly perceive things. When you talk with blind individuals who've been blind since birth and who do this work, they don't see color, obviously. They feel frequency. They view it in a completely different way. So we, as sighted individuals, can think of it that way. As a blind individual, it's going to be a different perception. But basically, the Merkaba is what breaks up the light and allows it that infinite consciousness to express in individuated expression. So as our whole process is to flow that energy in such a way that we can release blockages that prevent it from manifesting as itself. When I do my chakra workshop with people, they will often find, as they tune into their individual chakras, like the red chakra, for instance, that the red color is not exactly red. Some people will see it as almost a black or a very dark red. Some will see it as a light pink. Some will see it as having orange tones through it, a bleeding through of the orange chakra. And the same is true with all the other chakras. There's like a muddying of the coloring because we haven't learned to individuate those chakras and give them their own space, their own power, their own place in that rainbow. So the Merkaba is that mechanism that's around us and that holds all of our frequency, our individuation. And when you want to start doing astral projection, when you want to start traveling, having EOB experiences, when you want to start truly taking that consciousness up into source, I use a Merkaba. I visualize my Merkaba. I build it around me. I start by building the 4 points, a plane around myself, and I allow that to drop down and connect and ground because, first of all, I am coming from the physicality. I'm recognizing that's my root, and then I follow that Merkaba all the way down, that point all the way down, and bring it back to the top where it opens up into my connecting Merkaba. And that's how I build my Merkaba, and that's what we're going to be doing today in meditation. And while doing so, if you see particular color strands coming through your Merkaba, that's where you're needing the most support right now. So just visualize that, and you can shift those colors. So what I tell people is tuning your chakra is as simple as visualizing it and then imagining it becoming the color you want most. But the critical point in here is that you are allowing whatever messages that chakra has to share with you about why it's expressing in that color, why it's showing this image or this problem or this damage. You must allow that information to come through. Otherwise, you're just cleaning up a mess and not aware of how the mess got there. And so the mess can come back. And that's one of the reasons that people who do chakra attunements for others don't find that it's successful in the long haul, because the chakras themselves must be recognized for what it is they're dealing with. You know, if we have a big manufacturing plant and our filters keep getting blown out and we're not aware of what's passing through the filter and why that filter is getting blown out, then we're going to have a major problem in the factory itself. And that's what this is a great big factory. So, all that said, we're going to do some Merkaba building, and I want you guys to receive the ray that you are needing most right now. And I'm going to drink a sip of my coffee. We're going to get comfortable. And it's funny because this orange wants to be right next to me. So perhaps orange is what I'm needing right now. As the light goes orange. All right. Exactly. As above, so below. Male and female. Balance. Exactly, Jesse. Exactly. The yin and the yang. We have so many symbols for this. So go ahead and make sure that you're sitting or laying comfortably. I'm going to do a few deep breaths to bring ourselves back fully into the body, into this moment, into this time and space. Breathing in, present moment, present allowance, and exhaling. If you feel the need to take a really big, sharp, deep breath, do so. That is your body shifting and upgrading in the energy. Breathing in, present moment. And exhaling. I can feel so many of you are already right there and ready for it, so I'm just going to move right into it. Our heart chakra, our heart is our center plane. So feel that heart chakra in your center. And imagine it's coming out from it is this great plane, this great web. This web is the consciousness of all other humans on this creation, right? This is our web of consciousness in this expression, the human web. Some people call this a grid. So we have this web and we're all connected on it. I view it as like a smooth pond that has these ripples, and we're each these little bobbing balls of light. Whatever visual you get. Feel that and that expansiveness of all. Just take a moment to feel that. Now choose a point right in front of you. For some people, these points represent elements. There's 4 elements, the soul being that 5th element. That seems to work, so I'm being guided to do that. So let's put water in front, because water's my main element. You can put whatever element you feel driven to put there. Water marks this point of my Merkaba, that foundation beginning point. From it, I put a point behind me, and I choose earth behind me. Choose whatever you're guided to. To my left is air, and to my right is fire. Now I'm going to allow those 4 points to effortlessly and gracefully come down together, meeting my soul in the center point of my downward facing pyramid. And I'm going to continue to allow that point to drop down through the earth, through Gaia's heart, seeing that Gaia has a greater Merkaba around her entire body. I'm going to connect down into Gaia's heart chakra. And I'm going to continue down through Gaia until I come to the sun, effortlessly and gracefully finding my way into the heart of the sun, the soul. The sub-lagos. And I continue with my point through that into the center of the galaxy, the Milky Way, into that black hole in the center that is actually all light. And I'm going to go through that black hole, that point of singularity, into the heart of our Lagos, our infinite creation, the infinite consciousness, the Magog, whatever you call it. And I'm going to feel my oneness with all of creation there. Let's just take a moment. And effortlessly and gracefully, I'm going to continue following my path back through that heart of the infinite consciousness as I split away from the consciousness into my single individuation, and split away again, and split away again, until I find my point directly above myself that is me. And allow those 4 points to open back up into my elements of water and earth, air, and fire. At this point, you have a diamond, Merkaba. Just feel your diamond around you, you in the center, allowing that light of the infinite consciousness to come through and to break up into the prismatic rainbow that is you. Don't try to shift it into what you believe a rainbow should be. At this point, just allow it to show you what it is, because it's beautiful and amazing, and you're the only one. Now we're going to activate your Merkaba. Imagine that these 2 points, these 2 pyramids, are turning ever so slightly in whatever direction you feel guided and coming down until they're perfectly balanced and you are within both the grounded and the connected equally. And allow that Merkaba to begin spinning in whatever direction it needs to, at whatever speed it's guided to. And if yours is not spinning, then stillness is where you are at. And visualize that light, that pure white light, just like a ray of a sunbeam coming down into your Merkaba and breaking up in the prism of the colors. If one color is stronger in that ray, allow that to effortlessly and gracefully shine down through your full chakra system, bringing in resonance and balance and harmony of this particular color, because that is what is needed most to support you right now. As these colors are coming into you, if you need a visual, imagine that you've got a screen in front of you. I'm seeing a big screen. So many of you do work this way. If you don't need a screen and you can just receive the information, do so. But allow your body, your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, your spiritual body, your energetic body, your co-creative body, and your full consciousness body, the full self, to show you what you need to know about yourself right now, in this time, in this space, about your journey, about your work, about your heart and soul. Let's just visualize and learn from ourselves. We're forming such a strong tribe. If you're feeling like you're seeing for another, allow that too, and see how this is part of the journey, finding our oneness with each other. Recognize we're here holding space for each other at this time and in this place. And I'm hearing the leaf blowers come. So let's allow them to blow out all that is left, this debris that we're releasing. Allow that energy to blow through as the wind comes and cleanses and releases, and the water comes and washes and clears, and the fire comes and burns and consumes, and the earth comes and polarizes and stabilizes. Allow all these elements to support you. We each have 6 major guides. As wanderers, they tend to be angelics. What are angelics? They're hierarchical consciousnesses of frequency. They're divisions from the infinite creation that are hierarchical. Whatever angels, beings, elementals you're guided to, whatever pops into mind, invite them to be a co-creator with you in your experience if you want their support. They cannot interfere with your free will unless you invite them to. So call in these guardians, one for each point on your Merkaba. And ask them to support you, to assist you, to hold you, to protect you, to show you, to allow you, to embody all you came here to be. And just receive. Go ahead and stay in this state for as long as you choose. If you want to travel, visualize your Merkaba as your vehicle, taking you where you want to go. I love you guys, and I'm so grateful. And I hope you have a wonderful day.